Greetings everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias. Today, I'm telling you about the other thing I got at Blade Show. But Ethan, you already told us about the Totori, which, by the way, I've been teasing this thing. I forgot to mention this in the Totori video. This thing's been sitting on my desk in a lot of the videos, and I don't think anyone noticed, including in the background of a few of my live streams, so that's been there for a while. But, anyway, I thought you only got three things. Well, what could this fourth thing be? Because I didn't buy this fourth thing. This fourth thing is actually very interesting because it's a ballad song I already owned that looks a little bit different now. My Sassori, during the pit at Blade Show, was abducted and secretly converted to a Zippy Sassori without my knowledge. Someone asked me. In fact, it was the same person who sold me the Shino, Knickknacks, asked me to flip my Sassori, and I said, yeah, sure, you can flip it. And then I didn't see it for the next 20 minutes. And like I noticed, but I could kind of see it sitting on the floor through the hinge of my case, and I could just see the handle. So I was like, okay, it's over there. It's good. Little did I know it would be put back in my case without me noticing instantly, but with me noticing eventually, with a full set of Zippy stuff included. So that was pretty cool. So now it's my time to talk about this. These Zippy extensions. First of all, thank you to Knickknacks for doing this. I think Cream Sodas was in on it as well. So thank you guys. I can't believe you managed to sneak this thing away from me without me realizing long enough to get it undone, because this thing has an issue with the screws where it's really difficult to get one of the screws out for the spacers. So I don't know how you did it without me realizing. Props to you. Yeah, and now it looks like this. And I actually haven't had a ton of time to flip this thing. I've been far more focused flipping the other things that I got at Blade Show, like my Totori and my Aeon and all that. But this thing is really, really cool, because the Sassori has been something that's been weird to me for a while. It always had kind of that weird balance, excuse me, where it was fun to fan, but rollovers felt a little bit weird. The momentum was a little bit off. Holy voice cracks today. Excuse me. But the momentum was a little bit off. And I always thought, man, those Zippy extension spacers would go really nice on this thing. And I ultimately never purchased them because to this day I have still not installed the Orion extension spacers that I bought. So my thought was, if I haven't installed the Orion extension spacers, why would I buy Sassori extension spacers that are also probably just going to sit in a bag because I'm too lazy to install them? Well, that problem was taken care of for me. And this thing is, I mean, I told, when Nyx asked me my opinion on it right after she did it, my opinion kind of hasn't changed since then. I said, these spacers do exactly what I want them to do. And this is with no weights installed. There's actually no balls or anything in here. I haven't had the time to take them apart and actually put any weights in there. And I do want to, because I can tell that with just maybe just one or two tungsten balls in there, this thing would carry a little bit more momentum and would flip even more exactly how I wanted it to. But this thing kind of has like, it does exactly what I hoped that it would. The extra handle weight, or in the extra handle length, pushes some of that momentum further away from the pivots, which means that it just carries a little bit more momentum, which makes the balance of the Sassori far less weird and goofy like it used to be, and more in line kind of with the Totori. Interestingly, the Totori being much shorter than this thing, although actually, now that I look at it, not really much shorter, but, you know, it being the normal size without the Zippy extension spacers, this thing carries the amount of momentum that I would want out of a design like this. And because this is aluminum, the handles aren't as heavy, which means that there isn't as much momentum being carried in the handles, which means that you get a little bit of weirdness on rollovers and things like that. Which is kind of the reason I've always felt a little bit off about the Sassori. Like, I've never totally been in love with it, but I do like it enough to keep it in my collection and flip it. But the Zippy extension spacers, much like I expected, push some of that momentum further from the pivots, which means that it carries more momentum, which means that it performs just more consistently. It's more predictable. It carries momentum longer in tricks like rollovers and things like that without really killing its ability to fan and choker fan. It still fans and choker fans really, really well, but now the more handle bias based tricks, 0Gs still aren't perfect, and really not perfect, but the handle bias tricks, again, still aren't perfect, but I think 1 or 2 tungsten balls in here would really, really help with that situation. So I'll have to do that at some point. But even just with the spacers, with no weights, it makes it more predictable in exactly the way that I wanted. In the best way. It's exactly what I expected in a very good way. So I think that is the final update of Blade Show. There's still one more Blade Show related video that you may or may not have already seen. The Blade Show recap video is going to look a little bit different than you guys are used to this year, but I think that you'll really like it. So stay on the lookout for that. And until then, thank you again to Nix and Cream Sodas for surprising me with this thing. I promise, eventually put some tungsten weights in it to make it even more like what I expected. But for now, that's where my Blade Show 2024 Sassori sits. Still not perfect, but improved in such a way that I did expect and that I do like. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.